We are activating your unique self-discovery one show at a time. The Orchard of Wisdom Self-Discovery podcast are at your fingertips, just waiting to inspire and invite you in discovering just how awesome you really are and how to navigate through life in joy, enrichment, personal abundance, in mind, body, spirit, heart, and soul. All the people we bring you are here to serve you on your journey of life. Do enjoy our next show. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Your Health is Your Choice, right here at selfdiscoverymedia.com. I'm your very horsey today, coffee spluttery, Sarah Troy, and I'm with the wonderful Brad Williams, where he says, fitness over 40 hacks. Now, what does that mean? We're going to be finding out about that. But he's been a personal trainer for 13 years, helping the over 40 crowd stay fit. Between turning 40 himself and recovering from a horrible back injury, which left him with a new mindful perspective on training and health in general. His mission is to better serve those who are over 40. And he has several different hacks that help to do this. Over the last decade, Brad owned and operated 3 gym locations in Orange County and oversaw 40 plus independent personal trainers, each with their own unique training styles. He built a loyal following, a sought after client trainer community culture within each of his gym locations. Post COVID, Brad has now more focusing the online training and has started his first fitness podcast called Over 40 Fitness Hacks. And he wanted to show to how to resolve around the passion of helping people over 40 crowd that are aging process while still having a social life. A social life is very, very important, folks. And as we get older, the social life changes. No longer are we kind of looking to go to the nightclub and dance the night away, but we are wanting to kind of get out and hang with friends, or maybe still go dancing or chase our grandkids and do a few other things like that. And so fitness is something that's very, very important, enabling us not just in the body, but in the mind, heart, and soul as well. Welcome to the show, Brad.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, Sarah.
So as I said, I'm a bit horsey today, so another mutant virus has attacked. But as you said, you had all these gyms and things before, but come COVID, where everything got shut down, and now you're pivoting to online. And for many people, the actual getting out to the gym was the problem. But doing something in their own house and, where they can get sweaty and this and that, and they don't care who sees them because they're at home,
hmm
is something that's really important or just fits more into their lifestyle, doesn't it?
Yeah. No, one of the things from all the years I've been in the business and, when I first started was more focused on weight training. I'm a
Mm,
personal trainer. That was our passion. And now with everything and, my whole career, it's now focused more on, more of what makes you feel good. So
mm.
if weight training is not for you, going outside or, doing Pilates or just walking, doing something, movement is more important than anything. And, just building your community up like that. So that's kind of been more my mind focus for the last 5 years since you mentioned that, the back accident I had. So,
What did you do?
so let's go into story time. Last 13 years of my career building gyms, having personal trainers, everything. It's just been a up and down roller coaster here doing business in California. But, I always say you can't learn this in school. You have to experience it.
Yes.
And, part of being the gym owner is, I'm the marketer, I'm the bathroom cleaner, the accountant, and also moving equipment. 'Cause, so one day, just moving some gym equipment from one gym to the other, was going into one of my locations and just pulled out a few items into my truck. And we had little eye bolts that we have anchored into the cement ground right where the shed door comes down on one of our gyms. And we attach our battle ropes to it. I don't know if you know what those are, but with those little battle ropes that you do to burn calories for
All
your,
right.
arms and shoulders, and they need to hook onto something. So those eye bolts are a little trip hazard. So we have tape around them and we put orange cones on them if we're not using them. Well, I went in one day and it was just so quick. I opened up the shed door and I was like, I'm not going to worry about it because I'm just going to grab something real quick. Well, went in there, talked to somebody, and then walked out and totally forgot that was there. And I was holding a 40-pound weight rack, like an A-frame weight rack, not technically too heavy for myself, but in a violent trip, which is what happened, I forgot it was there, tripped on it, lunged out so violently, caught myself. And, I usually pride myself on my balance. Well, this time it actually worked against me because I held onto it and I held onto the rack and
Ah,
immediately blew out my L5S1 disc.
ow.
Yeah.
Mhm. Little
So,
things, right? Everybody always think
God,
it's the big things. It's those little things.
I know. And, at least I have a cool story of,
Yeah.
something so violent versus a lot of my clients have done stuff just picking something
Bending
off
over.
the
Yes.
ground. So,
Yes.
and, to their thing, they were just as much pain as I was. So,
Yep.
I mean, a disc is a disc.
A disc is a disc, and having damaged one of mine in the buzz, it takes a long time to heal as
Oh,
well.
yeah. And, the one thing too is, I immediately knew I did something, just rested the rest of the day. The next morning, there it is. Back is locked up. I could barely walk, millimeter walking. And I'm not kidding. Somehow got in my car. I don't even know how I did it. Got to the thing. I had to do a couple laps around the parking lot just to make it up the stairs to see my chiropractor. And with the next few weeks and months working with him, he got some mobility back in there, slowly built my body back up, doing physical therapy, and felt pretty good. So I started working out. Months later, I started going back to ice hockey I was playing at the time. And not knowing that I should have done an MRI because
Mm.
not knowing I didn't just you know damage the lower back area, nor did I bulge a disc. I herniated it, which means you popped it. So it was
Right.
leaking fluid the whole
Yep.
time. Even though I rehabbed and I was feeling great again, it was slowly leaking out until one day, about 5 months later, it started hitting my sciatic nerve. And I don't know if you've experienced the joy of
Mm-hmm.
that, Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you
Mm-hmm.
have. The pain
Mm-hmm.
level
Mm-hmm.
can go from level 5 to level 50. And
500.
I never made it to 500 because I eventually did surgery. I tried everything I could to do the holistic approach,
Mm.
inflammation, PT, and all that. And just at some point, I couldn't live with it anymore. So did the surgery. Um, Felt like $1 million the next day.
Mm.
Took everything slow, did everything my doctor said. And then literally a year and a half later of not even doing half of what I used to, but I was happy of what I was doing. And a year and a half later, it started coming back with the same pain, went and got the MRI, and it herniated again
Oh
for
God.
doing next to nothing. But when you
Uh-huh.
have a pop disc, if your
Yeah.
body doesn't heal it, everyone's different. Mine didn't heal and just went through the same downward spiral again. And once again, did everything I could, and eventually surgery number two. And after that moment, I was like, okay, what's more important to you in life? Even doing anything regarding fitness or your back. And it was my
Yeah.
back. So
Mm.
this time I took a month and a couple weeks off of working at the gym and literally did nothing but lay in my bed or lay on the ground. And then my rehab was going walking.
Mm-hmm.
And I just did everything 3 times slower this time. I didn't even start physical therapy until like 6 weeks when they wanted me going in a couple weeks. And then I didn't even start lifting my first weight until 10 months later. I stopped running, would only walk. And I just had my mindset change of fitness. Yeah, I'm passionate about it and I still want to help people and do it myself too, but there's time. You know, I'm
Yes.
I'm 42 now. At this time of the injury, I was, 38, 39, and there's tons of time to build back up. You don't need to do it all in 3 months. So that's kind of where my mindset changed from pushing so hard and
Mm-hmm.
taking more time. And not only that, but just like my style of training changed. I still have the same circuit training style, but with an umbrella now of taking more quality over quantity of doing reps. So in our field, we call it doing negatives or time under tension or slow motion training. People have heard, and just doing things, same type of exercises, but taking it slower, doing like a simple squat. Don't just sit there and pump out reps. Do them more
Right.
mindfully, mind body connection, feeling
Mm-hmm.
your body, going only down as deep as you feel okay with, but taking 5 to 10 seconds to go down, 5 to 10 seconds to come up. And within like 6 reps, you are wiped out.
Mm-hmm.
And you did it with either body weight or less, a fraction of the weight you used to. And so that's kind of been my training style for the last year and a half. And I implement that with my clients as well. And it's just, you know less injuries, you feel better, you
Yeah.
can do it in less time. You don't need to do hour, 2 hour long workouts. There's not much you can do with the athletes out there and the 20-year-olds. This is their passion. They want to do it, but more for the over 40 crowd where we need to play the end game with the end game in mind.
But not only, injuries, which many people do have along the way.
Mm-hmm.
I've certainly had my share of them. Um, people end up with some disability illnesses, right? And one of them is fibromyalgia, which I have. And the thing is, it's 31 different type of illnesses under one umbrella. And
Mm-hmm.
so it cannot be attacked, as the people like to just attack it from this point of view, that it's hypersensitivity. So that means everything in your body is hypersensitive. So that means everything is painful when you're
Yeah.
doing it, right? And so it's the more that people, trainers out there become more cognitive of people that have challenges. It doesn't, no, we're not lazy. We don't want to do it, but we know that we can only do so much and we can only do it in such a way. And that the like yourself, if you're targeting people that have challenges and still show them how they can still have fitness, even if they have those physical challenges, it's it's more boosting to the morale
Yeah.
rather than feeling demoralizing where you think, I've got this and nobody understands, and who could I go to? I don't know what to do for my fitness because nobody understands what I'm in. So, your redirection from having your back injury is because you're now actually in a market of 40 and over,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to find many, many people who have those challenges that you obviously didn't consider before. But now, it's how do you create a fitness for people who have those challenges but still want to maintain a fitness?
Yeah. And, in early in my career, late 20s, early 30s, and on a rampage with doing all the stuff I want to do and having clients that were over 40 into the 50s, 60s, and having all these concerns and all that. And I was also careful and everything, but my job I felt was to push them. You need to diet harder, work out more, all this stuff. Like, come on. And then lo and behold, I hit to my 40s and I'm having these issues. Oh my God, not just the weight gain, just being older and your body's aging and fighting against you with that. It's a survival mechanism.
Mhm.
But just injuries. I had to
Yes.
stop playing sports because I was rolling ankles, having knee problems. Obviously, the backstory we just went through, and then just neck pains. You're in the shower washing your hair and you're
Suddenly
spasming your neck and
whiplash.
you got to give yourself whiplash. So so yeah, and just the main focus on people like is encouraging them to do not even what I practice in my trade, which is weight circuit training, weight training with cardio, but it's more of what feels good to you.
Yes.
I like biking. Okay, so let's work out a program. I'll work with you and just on that. We don't have to do weight training. Or
Right.
someone likes walking, including myself. So after rehabbing and I get to get outdoors and I'm having fun and listening to my tunes, then I start engaging my core a little bit more, focusing on breathing more through my nose. So you're using your diaphragm more. There's so many much benefits from doing that. But also as I'm walking, knees are bent, loading my legs a little bit more, and almost doing like a skater motion. So you're
Mm.
activating your glutes more. So it's kind of doesn't look too horrible, but it does look odd and different. But I don't care. But I'm getting something more out of something I enjoy and that I can
Right.
physically do right now. And then I started putting on a little 6 pound weight vest. Nothing special.
Mhm.
But it's just then I'll help clients find something that they enjoy doing. And such as yourself with your issues, you just find something you can do. You may have to only do 5-10 minutes, but
Yep.
if you find something you can do, just do a little bit more mindfulness and see how far you can push yourself, if any. Just doing
Right.
it might be enough.
Yes, exactly. But you talked about the mindset behind it is we're almost shamed by the fitness industry that if we're not doing this, no matter what age,
Mm-hmm.
this show is called Your Health is Your Choice, and our health is our choice. But we've also got to be real of, our choices. Is it being detrimental to our body or is it enhancing our body? And nobody on the outside needs to shame you. I actually used to work in that fitness industry where we were doing a certain program and there'd be somebody there just just being so goddamn derogatory. And I
Hmm.
just felt so, there'd be many a time I'd be hugging someone who's crying. And I thought, this is not right. This is
No.
not right. And the 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 mindset you want people to have is you want them to invest in their fitness within the parameters of what they can do. You want them to do this for themselves, not being shamed or guilt or body shamed or, look at me. I'm 68. I've got people around that who can do cartwheels. I can't even get off the damn ground, never mind cartwheels, right? And, this is one thing I think is really detrimental and which society and especially social media has done is compare. Compare and compete. Now, competition, if you're in a competition, great. But starting comparing what somebody else can do to what you can do is mentally detrimental. But also, then you go start doing what they're doing to your body, which can't take it, then it could be very harmful to your body. So we really do have to be very mindful of what our body can take. And we do need people like you who can say, okay, what do you feel comfortable in doing? How can we do that and push the envelope a wee bit in your comfortability? Because it's not no pain, no gain. No, we know what pain is, mate.
That is so true. Yeah, and that's kind of the first thing I ask clients too is, what do you think fitness it is?
Mm,
And they're like, oh, being lean, being able to do this and move more, and be like, oh, yeah, it's a part of it. But for me, it's how your overall health, your mind, your
mm,
everything, and not only that, but like I care more about my blood work than I care about benching 200
mm.
pounds or more. I'm done with that. And just from all the things I'm worrying about, your what's inside your body
Yes.
and how easy it is to just build little tiny habits or hacks. That's why I called my show, and just to see if you can't get a little bit better on that scale for like your blood work, and
Mm,
then also journaling down stuff. How do I feel when I wake up in the morning now, or how do I feel after eating certain types of foods or going on diets? Now that I've been some more um,
cognitive.
intro perspective, I think
Yeah.
I've got tons of allergies. Not only just pollens out there and molds and that kind of stuff. And I've known I've had some food allergies, but also like intolerances. So now
Mm,
that I'm more mindful after eating certain things, I'm like, oh my God, I don't feel good right now. This
right.
thing bloated me up or it had some reaction. So I journal it down, like, stop. I just learned red wine. I hadn't done it in a long time, and I just took a little bit, and I just didn't feel great, and I started wheezing and had a little body reaction. You need to start paying attention to what's happening to your body and listen to it. And doing that over time, I'm like, oh my God, this is like this is the best I've ever felt in my life. This
Mm.
is 2 years now post op from my second surgery. I got pretty much my body back, minus the strength, which I don't care about anymore. But I feel good. I feel good walking. I love my physical therapy exercises I do, my workouts, very short workouts, and just my mind is great, less stress, and that's a huge deal too.
That's a big one. Mm.
But that's just people need to focus more on that. And it's kind of hard over your 40s because the other problem is you got your job, you got kids, maybe animals, all these things, family that you got to take care of, and all that's good. But you got to find time for yourself to relieve that stress, to take care of your body, because my in my opinion, with everything that's going on right now, there's no reason why humans can't go to 120 easily. And
Yeah,
I
exactly.
talk to other people across the world now because of my podcast, and just from everything I'm hearing and research, and so I've had scientists on the show. It's happening. And so now, to take care of this fragile body of mine with this little lower back injury, this thing needs to go like 80 more years. Either that or I wait out technology and science. And
Yeah, you'll get the stainless steel one, right?
yeah.
Um, yeah, it's a brilliant. What is it? It's a Robin Williams movie. Ah, I can't remember the name. Um, but he is a robot, but he was a robot that actually had a conscience. And
Oh
so,
yeah.
and it's how he went through like 200 years. and his ability to create things actually ended up creating parts in people that kept them going, right? So, God, I can't remember the name of the movies.
I know
It's
I
like
vaguely remember that, but I don't think
bio something.
I
Yeah,
watched it.
it brilliant. I highly recommend Brilliant. But and that is actually the way we're going. We are actually going where we will replace various body parts with 3D this or something of that, and that's wonderful. But the thing is, you can have people with an excellent body, but with the wrong mindset,
Yeah, and they'll
right?
just tear that body down eventually.
Exactly. You see it even with athletes suddenly collapsing. They've pushed, 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 pushed because the expectation is on them. There's the big dollars on it, or there's wanting to be the big dollars on it. And what it's push, push, push. But, is their mind really in it? And is it what the body can really take? Because as you said, you need to do the blood work, or you need to be present with self to really hear yourself from the inside out of what is agreeing with you. And that is whether it's food, whether it's drink, whether it's people around you that are toxic, whether it's an area around you that's toxic. All of that is still part of your fitness because your mental and your body fitness must be as one.
Exactly. And, talking about the athletes, it kind of brings me to remember, just I'm super into football and watching these guys and the athletic prowess they have. And, you watch the Super Bowl and on the Chiefs, Mahomes is fighting through an ankle injury, and you're watching him twice now in like 3 week time period, barely able to walk, hobbling out there,
Yes.
yet he still comes back in. So
Mm,
they're using whatever technology they have. I'm sure they're injecting stuff into them
yes.
just to get the pain off, but it's just sad
What's the
because
long term going to be?
the poor long term, because we've
Yeah,
already seen football players with
yeah,
CTE and
yeah.
depression problems, and some that don't, they the like the linesmen, they get beat up so much and they're expected to be so heavy, and the amount of workload they're doing offsets a lot of that, and as soon as they retire they continue what they're doing, and they just have high cholesterol, they're
Yes.
obese, and they have heart attacks if the CTE didn't get them. So it's just sad to see that, but we all thrive on sports and that competition, but it's like we got to teach these young kids too, like you got to worry about your long term. What good is all this money if you can't make it to the that
Exactly. Yeah,
over the 100 club like the rest of
yeah.
us are trying to do?
Right. And if all of your money then is going into maintaining your health, because of the long-term injuries. I mean, kids are, indestructible. I mean, my son um swung on a hook 20 feet up in the air over a ravine and felt like he wanted to get off because it didn't feel right. And somebody said, well, my girlfriend can do it. So, of course, he did it. He was 13, ended up losing his footing, falling into the ravine and waking up with his leg behind him. It
Oh,
snapped his femur nicely in half.
oh,
Um, I had him on nutritionals at that time that and the I had him on nutritionals that because of his growth, that when they actually drilled into his femur to put the screws in, to put the rod in, the drill bit broke off in the bone. And there was
oh
one
my
screw that couldn't
goodness.
get in there. And I had him on those nutritionals that afterwards his bone knitted like that. However, the ligaments took longer, right?
That's the thing. Yep.
That's the
Bones
thing.
heal nice and heal stronger. Your ligaments stretch out, get looser, and don't really go back the same.
Yeah. And then
So,
stupidly, right at the beginning of COVID, he owns a restaurant. He went out playing field soccer and he was wearing the wrong shoes. And he just did a slight twist and he snapped his Achilles.
yeah.
And he had to have that operated on. But it was literally 3 days before COVID lockdown. So
Oh,
no physiotherapy. It was done by Zoom,
oh.
you know, none of that
And he's not
treatment.
moving, can't go anywhere.
And you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything, right? He was down at the restaurant with his leg in a cast, taking orders for pickup. And that stress of what you're going to do with all your staff and everything else. And although it's healed now because he's very much into exercise, but he will go to the gym, but he and his girlfriend, they love going hiking or taking dips into cold water or doing yoga or doing that because they said the fitness has got to be more than just about the body. If my mind doesn't come out
Mm-hmm.
calm at the end of the fitness regime, then I'm not doing it right. All I've done is just pumped myself up, I've done this and that, but the mind is still in turmoil. But when you're doing the right fitness, when the mind feels at peace and the body feels relaxed because it's had all of that, then you know you're in sync, right?
Yeah. And on top of that too, stress, not just physical stress, but mental stress,
Mm,
trauma, in the last, 5 years, I've talked to a lot of people, and especially one in particular, Dr. Amy, and she expressed the concern for, calming your nervous system down.
yes.
That's a huge thing, your flight or flight response. So in
Yeah.
our daily American lives, we're so busy and we're
Mm.
worried about like getting our to-do list done and work and
And
also
what's coming next?
what's coming next, and then
Yes.
I got to work on my fitness too. Like all those stressors like put you in that flight or flight mode.
Yeah.
Your cortisol levels skyrocket, and then how you can counteract that with just simple breathing techniques. So
Yeah.
she taught me how to do that. It's called diaphragmatic
Mm,
breathing, and basically breathing from your diaphragm, not expanding your rib cage to pull in
yes.
big gusts of things.
Yeah.
And for when I met her, I was after my back surgery number 2. Literally in 2 days, cut my pain by 50%. So
Yeah.
everything she said worked. And so since then, I do that more mindfully as I'm doing chores, as I'm going
Mm.
on for walks. I'm doing it right now when you're talking and I'm taking a break. So it's just something you work on, and
It
it's
becomes
just like,
part of your lifestyle, right?
yeah, but
Yeah.
just like you said, just you got to worry about your mental state, your
Mm.
physiological state of that fight or flight, not just how my joints feel and how my knees feel today. You got to do it all.
Yes, you do. And the thing is, we have so many people at dis-ease. And this is why we have so many more influxes of diseases. Because what happens, we are energy creatures. Everything is energy that runs through our body, our chi. It needs to
Mm-hmm.
run in flow. Our blood, our oxygen, the fiber optics, the 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 sheer energy of everything needs to constantly be in flow, in circle. And if any one of those things gets cut off or jammed or tensed up, when people are anxious, they tense. When they're in pain, they tense up. And when you do that, you're blocking the chi, you're blocking the energy from running through the body. But that's the first reaction to do. So the breathing techniques or EFT, um, the tapping
Mm-hmm.
techniques, jitsu, certain points in the body that you can press. There's so many modalities out there to bring yourself back into presence, calming down, being in your breath, being in your presence, and just opening everything up to allowing that energy to get back into flow. Because when it's in flow, it's in control.
Yeah, and everything works better.
Everything. The clarity, you could be faced with things. I mean, stuff still happens. You can take that. That's why we say to people, take a breath, right? Because yes, you've just been hit with something, and what you want to do is go, and what we want you to do is,
Settle down and then make better
and then
decisions.
and then when you see it, okay, this is pretty shitty, but what am I going to do about it? I can't do anything about it from a stressful area because it's going to shut the body down, shuts the oxygen off to the brain. It's going to shut the mind down. There's no clarity coming when you're in that state of being.
Yep, absolutely. And we're getting more technology to replace ligaments and
Mm,
strengthen our bones, and all that is great. There's a place for all that stuff,
yeah,
but whatever you can do to work on your internal, there's not too many
yes,
outside sources that can help you do that because
right,
of the stress that your mind is creating, things you're putting in your mouth. So if the phrase of my podcast is, helping the over 40 crowd fight the aging process, but not giving up your social life,
right.
because we're not going to live forever. So the other thing is you got to have your vices, have some fun, try to build some healthy habits around it. But if you can help yourself out and watch what you're eating better stuff, drinking better water, taking better control of your physical shape with how much, physical stress you're putting on it, also your mental stress. There's all these little buckets, and if you can just
Yeah.
do a little bit in each one, not to overstress yourself or overcomplicate your life, it'll just be better for you, long term. So
There's this big magic word, moderation.
Yes.
You can enjoy the pleasures of life, but it's moderation. And especially in North America, we've been pushed that more is more on the plate, more of this, more of that. And also, there's so many people that are eating such empty calories. They're eating no nutrition. You have obese people dying of malnutrition because they're not getting any nutrients in their body. All of this fast food, all of this, you know, uh, processed food, the nutrients are not there. So
They're
one has to
stripped
be
out.
very, very mindful, stripped right down. And so people are left more hungry and then they go more to snacking and more to this and that. Why am I still hungry? When you change your diet more to organic and healthy and balanced, and I'm vegetarian, so for me it's veg, 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 veg. You can take my meat, I don't touch my vegetables. And there's so many nutrients in vegetables, and the way you cook them and the way you prepare them and the way that you eat them. Also, eating in gratitude is a huge um, mind thing and body thing on how you digest it and how it fortifies you. What we put in and what we put on our body too. Like we're so busy putting good things in, but have you read the labels of that cream you're using, or the toothpaste you're using, or this shampoo that you're using with lauryl sulfate in there, which is actually antifreeze? That's what they put in there to make it all
Yeah.
bubbly, right? So we do have to be mindful and go, like if I can't pronounce it, maybe I shouldn't use it.
That's it. Or just do a little research. That's all it
Yes.
takes, and you'll discover it. Or find someone in that field, and they'll let you know. But you're absolutely right. It's all the outside things we put on our body too: sunscreens,
Yes.
lotions, all that, and all of it's just taxing on our nervous system, our
Mm-hmm.
liver, our mental state, everything. So, obviously we can't fix everything. We live in the time we live in, but the more education you have and the more mindfulness you do, and like those buckets I say,
Yeah.
dude, just put a little extra effort on the diet and try to get a little cleaner sources coming in, and your water bucket and your stress bucket, and then see what you're putting on yourself. Check those out too. But you got to do it within the time frame that you have each day. And everything is about going slow, building slow,
Yes.
steady habits. I always like talking about in my field, it's good for business, but the New Year's resolution crowd coming in, and they're like, I'm sold. I want the full package.
Uh,
I want all the supplements. I want to go all the weight training, all the cardio, all that. I'm like, no, 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 no. We're starting off baby steps. One, because
yeah.
you might quit, and
Yes.
two, it's for my business, but two, it's better to start slow and build things, and just
Yeah.
just like a little jigsaw puzzle. We'll just work on the things that you like the
Yes.
most. Let's start with that, and then we'll introduce other outside factors. But your goal is that you care about your health and your mental state. So that's what's keeping you coming. Let's keep doing that.
But by going slow, it does become intimidating. It doesn't become overwhelming, right? And it
Yeah,
becomes something, well, this is I can now introduce something else. And it's literally the one step, two step, three step, and it becomes part of your lifestyle, part of your practice. And in doing that, the transition into that new lifestyle is so much easier because
yeah.
you are, today I'm going to concentrate on the breathing skill. I've got that down. Now I can concentrate on something else. Now I can concentrate on something else. Do I have to go back to remembering breathing? No, breathing is already remembered. It's already in my psyche, right? And then you start
Mm-hmm.
noticing. I always think a really good thing to do is whenever you question where you are, go and look back. Where was I a month ago, 2 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago? How do I feel compared to that?
Yeah. that that's huge. And the brick and mortar, my line of work locally, is getting new clients and doing exactly that. It's
Mm,
like, let's look back 3 months ago. Do you even remember uh coming in here and being able to do a sit up or a push up
yeah,
or anything? You couldn't do anything. Look at where you are now. We're
yeah,
not trying to be a pro athlete, but look where you are now and prior. And you know just uh enjoy your improvements and in health and your physical state. And the other part too is, I was really good at it. It's probably why I was so successful as a trainer too, is for someone just starting out, knowing that I knew that it was an intimidating experience for them. They're coming into a private gym,
mm,
that's where the bodybuilders are and all that. No, no, no. Just, we have a nice vibe in here. And the one thing is, when someone started, I was like, your only goal is just to get out of bed, during your time, drive to the gym, park in my parking lot, and you can sit there. And if you don't feel like coming in, go back home.
Mhm.
You did everything I wanted you to do. You got your mind right. You said you were going to do it. You drove in, and if you're not feeling that day, then we'll do it again. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And so everyone, all the other trainers looking at me, but I was like, no, if they're not ready, this is going to be a bad experience. Everything I do is for
Yes.
feeling good, good experiences. I'm here for you. We'll get you on the next one. And you start
Amen.
doing that, and they
Mhm.
start coming in.
Yeah.
And my job now is as I'm training them baby steps, they don't even know that I'm changing things and making it a
Right.
little bit harder and
Yeah.
graduating them up. So that was kind of why I was so
Well,
successful.
it's not intimidation. They go to the gym and there's that intimidation, or, again, that push, no, you got it in, push, 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 when it is free will. When people do things out of free will, right? They're going to
Exactly.
do it so much more better and cognitive because it's their choice. When something's imposed upon them, that you got to push, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this, you got to do that, then that's not their free will's taken away from them, and they feel more beaten down. But when it becomes their own inspiration, it becomes also their own invitation to want to do more. I'm inspired by how much I've achieved already. So my invitation is how much more can I do?
Yeah. And certain clients will come in and I just want to let them know, what things are you doing, what things are working, what do you like doing? And because I want to know, because I want to incorporate some of that stuff. If you like just walking, we'll do circuits with a
Mm,
lot of walking and doing a lot of hill climbing kind of stuff. Or if you like Pilates or yoga, I know enough to throw that in there because I want you to have something like some voice that you're controlling your own program as well. And then let me worry about the stuff behind the scenes and do what I do. But
right,
that's kind of my philosophy is not having a cookie cutter program
right.
for every single human being on this planet.
Yes.
That's not how it
One
works.
size fits all.
Yeah. We're all genetically different. We all have
Yes.
different
Hmm.
biochemistries. We all have different varying degrees of gut health. Everything's different.
Hmm.
So we just work on, one step at a time. What's working for you? What do you like? What makes you feel good?
Do you teach Tai Chi or Qigong?
I've done Tai Chi before. I don't know. I just didn't get into it. I like kind of meditating more than anything.
Right. It's a good way of getting people that are coming
To
out of
move. Yeah.
physical challenges and kind of getting into that. And the more they get into that movement, then transitioning into something else. You've had people that have had strokes, or people even, have had COVID, and one of the complaints after COVID is, the fatigue and the lung. My poor daughter's had it 3 times,
Ugh,
poor thing, and she was inoculated as well. And it's just, now it's just a bad flu every time it comes. But it's for some people, it really did knock them for six, and it really affected their lungs. And now they're finding in some ways that the heart could have been damaged as well. And so that slow transition of, it empowers them to feel they're taking back their health. And by, the elongation and the deliberate moves, they're
mm-hmm.
stretching things out. And then as they gain more strength and power, then they're more ready to go into that next stage. So it's a good one to have for that as well.
Yeah, and I've had instructors that taught that at some of my
Mm,
gyms, and it seemed to be very,
hmm.
popular too. But I understand the science of it, and the energy flow and everything.
Yes,
And
it's all
I
about
mean,
that
it's
chi.
yeah. And if someone feels good doing it, that's always just try new
Yes.
things.
I mean,
So, but
everything is about every energy. I mean, when we've got to understand we are energy creatures, and everything around us is particles of energy. Right. And when we make connections with people, it increases our energy because we're on that same frequency. Right. And so we need to have our energy ready to share and to receive. And if are feeling, I mean, one of the huge things that you probably find a great deal for people nowadays is fatigue. And then some of that fatigue is coming about physically, but a great deal of it is coming about emotionally.
hmm yep. Not only that, but it also certain not processed foods, but things like caffeine.
Mm.
Too much caffeine can alter the biochemistry to trick us into feeling like energy, and then as soon as it wears off, it did more damage than good than when we put it in. So that's
Things
that's
like
also a
the
thing.
cell phone
Yeah.
being
That,
around you all the time, especially like 5G and all of this, it is actually changing our biochemistry. We're meant to be in tune with the earth. We're meant to be. That's why when people walked the earth, they were always in tune with the earth. They were
Mm-hmm.
always riding in that energy. Now we have so much interruption with computers, cell phones, and all these apparatuses that we have around us. It's changed our electronic chemistry and we're out of sync. And so
Absolutely.
we're constantly dealing with that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That reminds me of that movie Avatar. The older I
Yes,
get, the more I'm like, God, that is really how the world works.
yes,
Energy flows, and
yes.
there's all sorts of theories of people saying there's a whole fungal network around the earth, and that's how energy flows, and we're all part of that. And
Well, yeah, we're
you know
all part of the particles that we can't even see.
yeah, that's the
And
thing.
and we've also got to realize that the energy we put out, be it positive or negative, right, is, we say to people ground into the earth, but what they ground is into the earth is their anger and their misery. And poor earth is saying,
Hmm.
you're cracking me up, literally, and it's like um, we have to understand that what we seed and what we feed is going to grow. So if we have discontent, we have constant anger, we have disconnect, that is what we have seeded, and that's what we're feeding. When your mind and body is in sync with each other and it's feeling healthy and it's feeling optimistic, we are going to plant different seeds.
Yeah. And it also matters, going on that too, is, do you feel happy? Do you feel happy today, this week, this month? Because that matters, because that's all energy that's going to be put out there. And when you put good energy out, good energy comes back. It finds itself. And just all of that I kind of incorporate into, in my mind, it's karma. You can call
Mm.
it what you want, and everyone's got different names for everything, but mine is more, I just like that term, I guess. Karma.
Mm.
What you put out there,
Hmm.
don't put anything negative out, because karma will circle back and
It
come
will.
get you. I don't know what I did to deserve this back injury, but I'm sorry. And then going forward.
But sometimes it's also just simply a redirect. I mean, I've had some people that have interviewed, because I've been doing this 11 years now, and I've had some people who have had some really nasty cosmic 2x4s
Hmm.
that have really knocked them for 26, never mind six. But in the end, going through that transitional process and becoming who they are and what they're doing today, they're very grateful. They're very
Yeah.
grateful because they realize in looking back that they were on the wrong path, doing it the wrong way. And they needed to step more into what their meaningful purpose was, what their true gift was to give to the world and give it out in a way that they were meant to do. So I don't think anything is ever by mistake. Sometimes we just go, why me?
Yeah.
Right? And it's the universe goes, why not? You weren't paying attention to the signs, so we gave you the cosmic, right?
Yep. You're on
Um,
that rocky road. We had to
yeah,
tell you somehow.
exactly. So, but those redirects aren't there to punish us. We could say things happen to us, but how can we make them happen for us? What can we
Exactly.
learn from it? What can we do with it? Like you have transitioned, you've pivoted, you've also become more sympathetic and empathic over people that just can't be at that optimum body. When you're at that optimum body, you're wanting everybody to be at that stage. When you can't be at that optimum body, you understand
Yes.
that everybody has a different level of optimization.
Exactly. And then your peak of that optimization starts coming down a
Yeah,
little bit.
it does. It does. And it doesn't mean weakness. It doesn't mean you've lost anything. It just means um, you needed energy there when you were young. And when we're young, we're given it in abundance. But now life isn't about peaks and valleys. It's about the flow of life, going into the rhythm of life. And when we're in sync, mind, body, heart, spirit, and soul, when we're at one with ourselves in a rhythm, we can get through anything in life and really have a life of optimization where we can really participate in life.
Yeah. And I think an important thing I've learned over, with all the stuff I've gone through, I'm over 40, getting a little bit older and wiser, is more of just, don't, you can have your why me moments and all that kind of stuff, but pick yourself out of there pretty quickly. And just everything in life is just, if something's not working, going your way, whether it be your profession, your physical body, or your family, or your spouse or something, is just, knowing that, okay, this is the wrong path, lateral over, try
Mm,
something new, and
mm.
know that it's like, I don't know if you play video games, but that old game Frogger, just trying to find
Yeah.
your way up, but it may not be a straight path. And it
Right.
sounds corny when you say that, but just even in my career, the brick and mortar business of running gyms has just been crushing.
Yes.
Learned a lot. You couldn't learn any of that stuff in school, but you just had to
Mm,
experience it. But knowing not to go down with the sinking ship. At one point, I was with 3 gyms and knew that my babies were going to have to go. You just can't keep these going.
right.
So consolidating down, having one, spending less time on that, spending more time with my wife's business, as
Hmm.
well as my online and podcasting, which is, for this time period, it's more fruitful, it's more scalable. You can
Mm,
get more people and help more people. So just
exactly.
just knowing it's okay to lateral.
Yeah. And the thing, we're not designed to be linear. Look at our DNA. Look at everything about that, our genetics. It's always in a twist or a turn or a curve or something. We're not straight line creatures. We're never meant to go straight line.
Yeah.
Right? You have a picture behind you of a pier that goes jumping in the water. Well, that's great, but that's not the way we're designed, right? We're meant to go with the flow. And I think the more that we become in tuned with ourselves, mind, heart, body and soul, the more that is where we understand our health is, the equilibrium and the balance of mind and body, heart and soul and spirit. When we know that that is in flow, then we can go with any wind or any gale because we know how to move and go with it instead of going against it and then becoming damaged because of it.
Yes, exactly. One of my clients, he's a good friend too. One of his things that stuck with me, and he loves saying it, is, don't worry about all the stuff that's happened behind you. His saying is, life doesn't begin until after 40. I'm like, dang, you're right. All these things that have happened, and with life and my back and everything, and now like going forward, you don't. Who cares what you did for the last 10, 20 years? You can
Yes.
reinvent yourself as many times as you want, as long as you have that
Honey,
drive.
I'm 68. I reinvented myself at 57, right? I've interviewed people that are 92 that at 90 she took on new lover and started a TV show, right? It's never too
Unreal.
late. It's
It's never
never
too
too
late.
late.
So don't,
Never.
yeah. And if I don't even want to do, which I do, but fitness anymore, or
Hmm.
want to do something else, like I started dabbling in real estate, and now
Hmm.
I'm, doing turnkey investments in other states and all that. Who knew I was gonna be into realty as well?
You're
So
right. Don't be so rigid, right?
yeah,
That's the thing. If we're so rigid, our bodies, as I said, when we're tense, we crunch, but if we're rigid, everything shuts down. No flow,
yeah,
no energy flow, no oxygen flow, right? So that goes with our thinking. Be flexible. We have no idea what we're capable of doing until we're willing to try something.
exactly. And podcasting. I hated social media. I hated doing all this kind of stuff. And just one person in my network group mentioned, that was visiting from the UK, just told our group that one thing you might want to look at is podcasting. It's super easy. You literally push a button and you just stare into the mic and just put your heart and soul into it, and you never know who's listening. And
Right.
after a few years, I remembered that, and that's why I kind of started it during COVID. And she was right; it started growing like crazy. I loved doing just that one thing, so I just kept doing that. And for some reason, a lot of my people listening are from Australia. Like, it's so weird. She was right. Hers was India, of
Oh, I
all
have.
things. Like,
Oh, I mean, say I'm Canadian, but mostly American. But I've got people, India, Brazil, Timbuktu, Australia,
yeah,
and that's the beauty of podcasting. It transcends time. It transcends place. Really, what it does is that it talks to the commonality of us. We're all in some way going through the same thing. And by sharing those different stories of how we're going through it, it becomes that inspiration that begets that invitation for other people to get up and go, well, if that person can, maybe I should give it a try, or maybe I should try and step up and do something. Or, it's okay, keep going. You've got this. Don't give up and don't give in. Podcasting is something I love. I do 24 shows a month as a rule when I'm not sick. Well, as I said, coming up 11 years, but my shows are a lot more complex because I do video and 16 audio platforms, and you get a blog and you get everything else. So I'm
mm-hmm.
far more complex. But the people I have got to meet in the nearly 3,000 shows I've done have shown me that while the media wants to show you the worst scum of the world and the most horrible things that we do to each other, that there are some most beautiful, incredible souls and spirits and hearts that are dedicating their lives to the embetterment of other people's lives, and that we are a community. And the more we nurture the people that are actually being the answer, being the solution, being that invitation, the better we're going to be as a human race. So podcasting is beautiful that because it is that invitation to come and listen to the story, connect with it, resonate with it, reach out, or just transcend from it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. And I only have a fraction of the time of how you've experienced this, and the year and a half that I've really aggressively been doing this, just so fulfilling.
Mm-hmm.
Talking to all these, at least in my little genre of the health and wellness and
Mm-hmm.
fitness thing, talking to people all around the world, not just my local little community here in Orange County, and how different it is
Yes.
everywhere. And there's something to get from each one of those
Mm-hmm.
people. That just, if anything, the education and the
Mm-hmm.
empowerment of all that for me is just the real reason I keep doing it and passionate about it.
Yes. I
So
believe that
yeah,
passion will keep on growing.
yeah.
It's
So
you've got people that dabble in it and they do 3 or 4 episodes and I can't do this anymore. And they go, okay, no, you're not just suited for it. But the people that get the hook and
yeah,
you really are meeting those incredible people. And there's so much wisdom to be shared, so many innovations, so many skills, so much knowledge, and that we can all benefit from. I think it's a great way of doing it, and it's a way that you are sharing that mind body fitness, across the world as well, because it's not just about the body.
yeah,
Your health is your choice, but you've got to remember you are a whole being, right? The biggest organ on your body is your skin,
yeah.
right? So, we've got to, and how our mind works affects how our body works. How our body works affects how our mind works. It affects how our psyche works. It affects how our heart works. It affects how everything works. So we need to be in sync with ourselves. We need to find that rhythm.
Absolutely. And it's never too late to start. I like telling people that, if you didn't grow up, with this kind of mindset, it doesn't matter. Our bodies are so resilient.
Yeah.
They can, reverse a lot of things. And it's, just I like using the reference to my daughter. She's 6 years old and she's going through, preschool and kindergarten right now. And, hearing everyone say like, oh, these are the years where your body, the human body, like absorbs the most. You're like a sponge, and later in life it's diminished and all that. And I'm like, oh, I don't believe that at all.
Yeah.
They're a little sponge, but the amount of information, if you're passionate about it, like I'm doing right now, it's endless. And
Yes.
with everything, and with the internet and YouTube and meeting
Mm.
people and talking to them, as long as you have that passion, I'm smoking her right now.
But the thing is about engagement. You have to be engaged in life. You have to participate in your own life. Don't sit back waiting for it to come to you. You have got to be interactive in life. One of the biggest things that humans forget is wonderment. When you
Hmm.
stay in a sense of wonderment, you're always in a state of inquiry. Oh, what if? What do I not know? I didn't know that. Now I know that. It feeds us. It feeds the mind, it feeds the heart, feeds the soul, which feeds the body, right? So stay
Exactly.
inquisitive, stay participatory in your own life and in the life of others. Be interactive, whether you do it online or whether you do it physically. We encourage both. Um, but always come from the heart, folks. Always come from the heart. There's enough bashers out there. We don't want them. We want you to speak from your heart. And you'll just see how many good people out there and how much inspiration is to be had, how much it feeds you in your mind and your body and every other aspect of it, and how it improves your health.
Yeah. Your health, your life, your
Hmm.
family, your loved ones, everything.
And, as 6-year-old, I have a nearly 2-year-old grandson, and my daughter's having another one. As a grandmother, it's a different privilege looking at the children because I'm not worrying about, the 24 hours or
Hmm.
every day. So, I had three, and my daughter said to me, how did you do it with three? And I said, I don't know. I just did it. Right. So now with a grandchild, I can be more observing. And, things that I've watched, in him discovering something, little conversations going in his head, little smiles that he's doing, his own little wonderland. It's so beautiful to see. Our job as parents, as grandparents, and as adults, is to make sure they never lose that wonderment. They never lose that inner connection with themselves, that we don't try and make them conform, 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 because in that conformity, they lose the very essence of their beingness.
Exactly. And, what's funny is my own mom telling me, and it was a shock when she said it. You know, how awesome is it being a grandmother? She's like, "Oh, this is so much better. It's so much better being the grandma." I was like, "Hey, what about your kids? Oh, I love you guys, but this is better."
Yeah,
But I get
yeah,
it. It's
yeah,
it's all she gets is the wonderment and all the
yeah,
playing
yes,
and getting to interact with that versus mom and dad are worried about diapers, school,
yeah,
we're
yeah,
running late, all that stuff.
yeah,
So it's just
yeah.
something you have to go through, but it's cool being on. It sounds cool being on the other side of that.
I mean, it is. I've got my own car seat in the car, and he wants to go with grandma. And even if we just go for a drive or go and do something, and as soon as I walk through the door, Nana, and I'm actually moving closer, they're actually going to build a house on the property for me to move closer there. So I have my own independence, but I envision little knocks on the door of both grandkids there.
Yeah,
So, and it's great. It's great. And then they get to learn something different from me. And that's the thing is, as we get older, it is up to us, and this is the beauty of podcasting, to pass the wisdom on, right? It's people have learned to get their information in different ways, and podcasting is very much one of the ways, YouTube and all of that. But it is about sharing that information, because you never know what tiny bit of that information that you shared becomes that inspiration, that becomes that catalyst for someone's life.
absolutely.
We want them all healthy, right?
Yeah, that too. It's right now with my daughter being 6 right now, she's a lot more active, starting to look into sports and stuff. But I don't want to be that dad that pushes her to do
No,
the thing I want and all that. All I want is what I'm getting. And every Sunday I do a boot camp at the gym, and she comes. It's just kind of cool to bring the family. And sometimes she interacts, sometimes she doesn't. But with the last year or so, she's starting to engage, and she wants to run with everybody and do some ladders and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, yes, because all I want is just instill that
yeah,
desire to be fit and be happy and like those things. I don't want to
yeah,
push anything she doesn't like. And just the overall philosophy is I'm building myself a little mini athlete and a mini me, and not making her hate the process and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah.
I
Well,
love I love seeing
my
that.
kids, neither the father or I mean, he was into martial arts. He was Chinese, is Chinese ex-husband. But my kids were into sports. I wasn't, because I was an asthmatic and never was pushed to sport and never could do sports. But it was always making sure I put them in programs. Look, you don't know if you're going to like this or not. Let's do a season and see how you like it.
Hmm.
Right? Oh, I prefer this over, prefer lacrosse over softball. Fine, so we go and do the whole lacrosse thing, etc. And it's like they're going to change their minds from one minute to the next because they want different experiences.
Yeah,
And
let
then
them.
they find, yeah, and then they find that something, "Oh, I love this." And then, you really nurture it. But one of the mistakes some people make is that, oh, they're going to go professional with it. They're going to go this. No, no,
Yeah.
you've now taken the enjoyment out of it.
Hmm.
I was doing it for fun. I don't want to go and do this, for pushing it for money. Some people do. That's fine. They really want to go that way. And if they've got the drive, be behind them. But don't take the fun out of it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly my philosophy. Just trying to make things fun. I'm just happy that she is showing interest and just being active. That's all I want. So
Yes. And that's the thing is if you're teaching her the happiness and the body go together, the mind and the body go together, then she'll always have that. I'm feeling sad, maybe a workout will do it, or a run will do it, or a swim will do it, and
hmm.
they learn to know, as adults, we slowly get to know, I feel much better when I just go for a walk, or I'm out in nature, or I go for a swim, or I go for this or that. And then, okay, that obviously is my physical medicine. It's my mental and physical medicine. In doing this for my body, it's good for my mind, right? And
Exactly.
that's really what you want. Mind and body happily in sync together.
That's it. We are going to slow down as we age, and that's okay.
Mhm.
But as long as we take our breaks and then continue to move and continue to, better ourselves. I think that's all that matters.
And you may slow down physically, but you don't have to slow down mentally, right?
Exactly.
Do not put a cap on yourself and think, well, I've got to retire. You may retire from what you're doing, but now you're going to take something else up, right? Find
Exactly.
some other passion to do, because life is about living to the very moment you exit the body. Then the body's gone, but your spirit's off ready for another adventure.
I love it. Love it.
So how do people get hold of you if they're in the Orange County and they want to actually go to the gym, or if they want to do something online or your podcast, how do they get hold of you?
Yeah. So my podcast, Over 40 Fitness Hacks, it's 40, not spelled out. You can find it on your podcast player, Spotify, iTunes, or whatnot. And the other way is my website, over40fitnesshacks.com, and also 40, not spelled out, 40. And it has my contact information on there. I'm starting to put blogs out, and just easiest way to get a hold of me right now. I'm not too much on social media. I did start with a Twitter account, but the website is probably the best way.
Okay. And if people want to be a client?
Yeah, so just message me off the website, and then I do online consulting, and doing podcasts. It's pretty much the audience is spread out. But if you happen to be here in Orange County, then I have a brick and mortar gym that we can start out there as well.
Great. And the thing is, it doesn't matter how old you are or what your condition is right now. It's all about you working with them where they're at and getting them to a place where they feel comfortable and consistent at.
Exactly. And nothing is rushed. Don't worry.
Right. Exactly. The tortoise and the hare. Remember?
Yes,
The hare
exactly.
got cocky and took a nap. And the tortoise won. And I used to be a rusher, and I've learned to be a plodder. And not only do you get more done being a plodder, but actually you learn more appreciation for the moment and for the moments that you're going to have, because you're not rushing by them, right?
Exactly. And you just get smarter.
Yes, exactly. Because you slow down to actually listen to the
Yeah,
smarts. Thanks so much for sharing with us here, Brett.
absolutely. Thank you so much, Sarah, for having me on the show.
My pleasure. Remember, folks, mind and body, heart, spirit, and soul, they're all one. If your mind is in distress, so will your body be, vice versa. You don't have to rush out to do this and that, one step in front of the other. Get yourself in sync. Let Brad help you. Listen to his podcast. Listen to the wisdom that is shared out there. You can do this no matter what condition you're in. It's just a question of your mindset, wanting to invest in your own health, and you're going to do it one step at a time. Until next time, folks, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. Find all of our shows on selfdiscoverymedia.com under podcasts or selfdiscoverymedia/shows. And for all our current shows, go to What's New. We are supported by you, the audience. You'll see a nice big shiny blue button for one-time donations, or follow us on Patreon and you will be able to support us there. We enjoy bringing you such wisdom, and the next show will be up in just a moment.